Ever since I was a child, people said my family was cursed. Mom tried to protect us with God. Pop tried to protect us with wrestling. He said if we were the toughest, the strongest, nothing had ever hurt us.
I came across the family on a deep dive into old VHS tapes that I found and saw them wrestling at the Sportatorium and loved them, and then saw Kerry live a few times in the WWF. I was sort of aware of the tragedy, I think because I'd seen Parade of Champions on VHS 5 years after it happened, but didn't really know the details. But then I do remember the day that I read about Kerry Von Erich dying, and I was really haunted by that, and just the knowledge that other brothers had died and what they were going through as a family, and they stayed with me.
Doris is the mom. She's Fritz's wife, the mother of 5 children. Her household is almost like, it's like a restaurant series for her. I think cooking is a huge part of her life. And I think she was a deeply religious woman who loved her children, but was also married to someone who was fairly domineering. I know you don't like it when I say that, but he was.
Fritz is an icon. Fritz is a legend. Fritz is one of the most interesting characters.
I should talk about Doris like that. Like what?
She is an icon.
Tell her. Doris is amazing. Sorry, go on.
But it's true. Fritz built an empire. If he had been a little bit more forward thinking, if he was a little less provincial, and I'm saying that as an observation, not as a criticism, he could have been Vince McMahon.
These guys are really doing everything in their power to live up to their father's expectations of them. They're giving everything just to earn his approval, in a sense. And it was fascinating, I think for all of us to kind of go back there and put what we had, like any similar experience we had, to be able to put that into the film.
There was a sort of generational stoicism that was, I mean, at least I know from like my own father, like he kind of was taught that. And, you know, to a degree, there's something that's kind of like admirable, but it's also like not the best for your mental health.
I think these guys at that time in this place, like, I don't know if they had the language to really communicate well with one another, to communicate what they were kind of going through. I don't know if they were able to really like grieve. I think of this idea of like these paths being like shut off and then immediately taking to other directions. Like I think Kevin at one point had a kind of like promising career possibly in football, and then you see Kerry training at the Olympics, and then just how quickly they kind of need to say goodbye to that possibility and jump into something new, which happens to be professional wrestling, and just how much they rely upon their father to kind of guide them. And I think, what he instilled with them is this thing, which I think there is maybe some value in it, which is kind of like just keep your head down and keep moving. I think there is value in that kind of attitude, but there's also value in like taking time to process something that's happened to you, happened to a family member, to grieve the possibility of another life, or to grieve the loss of a family member. And I don't know if these men were allowed or knew how to do that.
It feels very much like an exploration of like toxic masculinity in the sport, in our society, and what it means for a man to just be enough.
Yeah, all of that, absolutely. Again, I think what I related to is like, if you're a boy in particular in this sense, and you have all these feelings and you have interests, and those feelings are squashed, and you're sort of forced to be put into a mold that isn't you, and what that does to you, and just what that continually pushing down of feelings and not speaking openly does.
Will forever be the greatest family in the history of wrestling.